You know that feeling, right? That little voice saying, wow, imagine getting those returns with almost no risk. It sounds incredible.
Almost too incredible, usually.
Exactly. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a close look at something fascinating, but also quite dangerous. Ponzi schemes.
That's right. And at its core, a Ponzi scheme is really just, well, it's fraud. It's an investment scam where the money paid to earlier investors comes directly from newer investors.
Not from any actual profits or legitimate business.
Nope. No real wealth creation happening. It's just moving money around.
And for you listening, if you want to really understand complex topics quickly without getting lost in jargon, you're in the right place. We've looked into how these things work, how common they are globally, some examples from Pakistan specifically, and crucially, how you can spot them and protect yourself. Okay, let's dive in. So this basic idea, new money pays off the old money. It sounds so, well, simple. What's the fatal flaw? Why do they always fall apart?
The fundamental issue is there's no real engine generating profit. The returns people get, they aren't from smart investments or a successful company.
Right.
They depend entirely on recruiting more and more people, bringing in fresh cash, always needing new money.
So without that constant flow,
The whole system just collapses. It can't sustain itself.
and that initial appeal, those high, steady returns with supposedly low risk.
Yeah.
That's the bait, isn't it? Plays
Yeah.
right into our desire for financial security.
Absolutely. It looks safe. It looks successful because, for a while, it works. Early investors might actually get paid what they were promised.
Which must make it seem totally legitimate.
Exactly. And that's dangerous because those early winners, they become sort of unknowing salespeople for the scheme. They tell their friends, family.
Look how much I'm making. You should get in on this.
Precisely. Which brings in more money for the organizers.
But like you said, it's built on nothing real. It's a house of cards. It has to fall eventually.
It does, because that need for new investors grows exponentially. You just run out of people eventually. Or maybe the economy shifts, or regulators start asking questions.
And the inflow slows down.
Right, and when it slows or stops, there's not enough money to pay out the promised returns. That's when it implodes. Most people lose everything they put in.
Sounds devastating. So how common are these things, really? Are we talking rare events or something more widespread?
It's genuinely hard to say with exact numbers. A big part of the problem is underreporting.
People are too embarrassed.
That's a huge factor. Think about it admitting you were fooled, especially if you lost a lot of money. There's a lot of shame involved. We saw that mentioned in the 2024 payment threats report regarding other scams, too.
So victims often suffer in silence.
Yes, or sometimes they don't even realize it was a Ponzi scheme until the very end. Plus, some of these schemes run for years, even decades before they collapse. So counting them year by year is tricky.
Okay, so precise numbers are tough. But what's the general sense? Are authorities concerned?
Definitely. Interpol, for instance, flags investment fraud, which is the category Ponzi schemes fall into, as one of the most pervasive financial fraud threats globally.
Globally pervasive. That doesn't sound minor.
No, it suggests it's a significant ongoing issue across many countries.
And when we think about big examples, I mean, one name probably jumps out for most people.
Bernie Madoff, right? His scheme was absolutely massive, ran for decades, billions lost.
What was the key there? How did he keep it going?
Well, part of it was his reputation, but also the returns. An analysis from Simon Fraser University pointed out his claimed returns were just statistically improbable. They were consistently high, rarely showing losses, even when the market was down.
Which should have been a red flag.
A huge one. Legitimate investments just don't perform like that year in, year out. They noted his returns were well outside their theoretical bounds. It was too smooth, too good to be true.
And the impact was enormous, hitting charities, institutions, individuals.
Absolutely. It showed the scale these things can reach. And it's not just classic Ponzi structures anymore. Interpol's Operation Nirvana in 2023, for example, targeted these complex spear phishing campaigns across Africa, Asia, Latin America.
So investment fraud using different tactics.
Yeah, often promising high returns, maybe with some Ponzi-like elements mixed in. The methods evolve.
Okay, let's bring this closer to home for some listeners. What about Ponzi schemes in Pakistan? Do we have specific examples?
Yes, there was a report on Dawn.com about a suspected scheme. Depositors apparently lost, the figure mentioned mention was Rs 420 millers.
Wow, that's a huge amount.
It is. And what's interesting, or maybe sad, is how trust played a role. The central figure, a Miss Humaid, apparently knew many victims for a long time, like 7 to 10 years.
So there was a pre-existing relationship.
Exactly. People were involved in these informal savings groups called committees in the report, paying in monthly amounts, maybe Rs 25,000 or Rs 50,000 a month.
Significant sums, and the total loss estimate varied.
Yeah, one victim thought it was maybe Rs 150 meters to Rs 200 meters, but the reported figure was higher. Either way, devastating losses.
And did people go to the authorities?
Well, at the time of the report, apparently not. No one had gone to the police or the FIA, the Federal Investigation Agency.
Oh, yeah.
They seemed to be hoping to sort it out themselves, and Miss Humaid had apparently sent messages on social media promising she'd pay people back, which,
Is a common tactic to delay things, right? Keep people hoping, stop them from reporting it.
Precisely. It builds on that trust, offers false hope. It's concerning.
Does this connect to a wider picture of fraud there?
It seems possible. The Pakistan Security Report from 2018 did identify cheating and fraud as a key source of money laundering. So it suggests these kinds of fraudulent schemes might be, well, more common than official reports capture.
And the regulators are aware.
Oh, yes. The SECP, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, actively warns the public on its website about fraudulent investment schemes and Ponzi schemes. So it's definitely a recognized issue they're trying to combat.
Okay, so it's clear these schemes are a real danger, exploiting trust and causing serious harm in Pakistan and globally. Given that, what are the key warning signs? How can listeners protect themselves?
Right, this is crucial. First, that promise of unusually high returns with little or no risk. Like the Madoff example showed, if it sounds way better than any legitimate investment, be extremely suspicious.
Alarm bells should ring.
Definitely. Second, watch out for consistent positive returns no matter what the market is doing. Real investments go up and down. If it only ever goes up smoothly, ask why. How is that possible?
Because it probably isn't, unless it's fake.
Exactly. Third, pressure. Are they pressuring you to invest right now? Or heavily pushing you to recruit your friends and family? That's a classic sign they need constant new money.
Okay, high returns, consistent returns, pressure. What else?
Secrecy or complexity. If the strategy is supposedly too complex to explain or they're very secretive about how they make money, be wary. Legitimate investments should be understandable.
Transparency is key. If they won't give you clear documents, clear answers.
Run away. Seriously. And finally, look at how payouts are happening. Does it feel like you're just getting your own money back or money from new people rather than actual profits earned? That's a massive red flag.
These are really practical signs. So let's say someone listening recognizes these signs, or worse, suspects they're already in a scheme. What should they do? Immediately.
First step, absolutely critical. Stop putting money in. Don't throw good money after bad. Just stop.
Cut your losses.
Yes. Then gather every piece of paper, every email, every message related to this investment. Contracts, statements, communication logs, everything.
Get your evidence together.
You'll need it. And then report it. Don't wait. Don't hope it resolves itself. Report it to the authorities.
Who specifically in Pakistan? You mentioned the FIA.
Yes, the Federal Investigation Agency handles financial crimes. Also, report it to the SECP, the Securities and Exchange Commission, since they deal with investment fraud and have issued warnings.
Okay, FIA and SECP.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Your local police station is also an option, and potentially the Financial Monitoring Unit, the FMU. While their main focus is money laundering, they deal with suspicious transaction reports, so large-scale fraud could fall under their purview too. The point is, report it widely. Information sharing between these agencies is important.
So don't hesitate. Report it to FIA, SECP, police. Got it. Now, what about prevention? Before someone even gets close to investing.
Due diligence. It sounds boring, but it's vital. Before you invest a single rupee or dollar or whatever, check them out.
Oh.
Verify the company and the individuals involved. Are they registered? Are they licensed to offer investments? Don't just trust their website or what they tell you. Check with the official regulators, like the SECP in Pakistan.
So independent verification.
Yes. Be super cautious about unregistered companies or people giving investment advice. Understand exactly where your money is going and how it's supposed to generate returns. If you don't understand it, or it sounds dodgy,
Walk away.
Absolutely. And always remember that fundamental rule. If it sounds too good to be true, it almost certainly is. Trust your gut feeling.
Okay, let's quickly recap. Ponzi schemes are frauds, using new money to pay old investors. No real profit. They're a global problem, often underreported due to shame. We see examples in Pakistan exploiting community trust, the red flags, unrealistic high returns, weirdly consistent payouts, pressure tactics, secrecy. If you suspect one, stop investing. Gather documents and report it to the FIA, SECP, and police in Pakistan. Proactively. Always do your due diligence, verify registration, understand the investment, and be skeptical of too good to be true offers.
That covers it pretty well. Vigilance and skepticism are really your best defenses.
Well, that wraps up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Here's something to think about. We all want our finances to grow, right? But in today's complex world, how do we balance that ambition with the critical thinking needed to protect ourselves from scams like these? How do we stay sharp? Something to ponder. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.